So, Leo, 1939-57. So, the baby boomers generation.
Fifth house.
Fifth house,
Children.
Leo. And not only that, it's mostly self-expression, individuality. Showing the world what you have as your own personal essence. Being able to display yourself, to expose yourself, to be a star, to be, even for a very short period of time, a king or a queen in your own little way. But it's the urge for self-expression and individuality. Even sometimes shouting too loud about it, being too, it's very important for these people to shine. It's the trend of the times to be prominent, to be successful in that societal way of being successful, to be noticed and appreciated. That's what everybody wants suddenly. After the Cancer silent generation, these ones don't want to keep silent. They want to be out there and to be, everyone needs to do something great, something grand. But in every time there are people who are, have astrologically different energies in themselves. There may be somebody very introverted, very Cancerian, we can say, or very Piscean, very Virgo, I don't know, Scorpio, whatever you can think of, but prominently not Leo. Prominently not boisterous and outgoing and demonstrative. And they can be born in Pluto in Leo. So, in every generation there are people who are out of place, that don't feel like it. They don't feel like following that trend. And they sometimes become the scapegoats of this generation. They become the ones that, they're right in their own way. They are equally good as the others. But because society thinks for this period of time that this is cool, this is important, this is what is the measure of success or the measure of how good you're doing in your life, they may become left out. And they may actually be great. They may be extremely talented or extremely valuable, but they become kind of left behind because they're not willing to live up to this trend. And this was a very glamour-seeking period. Big businesses, big leaders, many people were following gurus or were very impressed by people who were shining loud and being very prominent. But maybe these people were absolutely hollow inside and they didn't actually have anything behind the glamour. But both the people that were so glamorous, television personalities, the era of first reality shows and so on, especially in the US, because what we're talking about here is mostly the Western world. It's where these things were seen. But maybe there were nothing underneath the surface, but they were prominent and heard, and in many countries dictators ruled. And for many years, bear in mind that whoever was born here came to power around the 70s, 80s.
Oh, sorry?
So people that were born in this period actually were contributing their bit. They were the ones in power in the world, or they were the ones ruling the world. Not in the years when they were born, but take it 30 years forward. And that's around the 80s. So when we were born, most of our parents, both of my parents are born in the Pluto in Leo generation.
Funny.
Yours too?
Yeah, my mom, 53. She has still three children. She's Aquarius.
Yeah.
She loves to do theater for kids, and it's like you're describing her, but at the same time, she's nothing like Leo.
Like that,
she's Aquarius.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
But
the opposite.
the generation, what she did into society, gifted 3 children, do theater for kids,
Yes.
artistic expression, etc. It's funny. It all makes sense.
It was kind of in fashion to do something. They say everyone was suddenly writing a book or performing or doing this or doing that. And maybe people born there were kind of feeling like they're not special enough if they don't have a prominent talent that they can just take out and show. Well, somebody's talent may be more of an introverted talent, or maybe they're not supposed to have a talent. We always have people who are performers and people who are an audience. What would be there wouldn't be a performer if there isn't an audience. But then suddenly everybody wanted to be a performer, and things like this. But it's a very, very demonstrative time, And I can feel it in my parents. Like, even my father is an Aquarius, born in this Leo generation. So very individualistic and not can be bothered with this, but at the same time, when it comes to commenting on politics and what's going on, they go with the trend without even realizing it.
Oh.
Actually, Aquarius is not that individualistic as you may think. Even yourself.
No, my father's a Virgo and he's like super...
No, I mean that Aquarius has this reputation, but actually Aquarius is probably the most society-dependent sign. Because if it is to rebel, it has to rebel against something.
Right.
That something or that system or that government or whatever you name it has to exist in order for them to rebel against it or to change it. There needs to be something there to be changed. And if there isn't, or there is a chaotic situation, they suddenly feel like, I have no cause, I have no role. Because actually individualism, believe it or not, is the weakest in Aquarius. It's the strongest in Leo.
Yeah, because the sun is exalted in Leo
Yeah,
and is exiled in
exactly.
Aquarius. But
yeah. It's already, so Leo is like the master of slaves. And that's one of the downsides of Leo generation leaders, like dictators. They cannot participate in any group activity. They don't see themselves as part of something. They see themselves either as, I'm an outsider or I'm the ruler.
Yeah.
And what happens is this like big national pride. We are the only country that matters, for example, or big corporations where, guess who is from the Pluto in Leo generation? Donald Trump is like the epitome of that generation. That's what is being kind of exposed now as a...
He has sun in Gemini, moon in Leo.
Moon in Leo, yeah. And I think moon in Leo I think Pluto is in his 10th house, if I'm not mistaken. 10th or 11th house. He's got a very like political chart because most of the activity is up in the late houses.
And he has like 5 babies or something.
Not only.
Yeah.
It's like
5
the
kids.
principle of...
3 from the first,
Yeah,
1 from the second, and 1 from the third.
It's the megalomania more than anything else. That breeds it here in Pluto in Leo. But they were so like in this party mood. Let's not make it that negative. Let's say it's just like the mood of the generation to have a good time also, because Leo is also about risk-taking and playfulness. Children in the sense of not only having children as a progeny, but also being able to be as a child, of enjoying life, as simply as that. These people, most of them were very not pretentious, they just wanted to enjoy themselves, as an opposition to the previous generation that kind of denied it completely. And when they tried to do that, there was this thing in them that when it's not interesting enough, because life is kind of hard reality, like 80% of the time, it's not very glamorous and party like all the time, it cannot be. And when these moments in their lives happened, they felt like something's wrong, that I have to go back to a party state. I'm meant to do that, because anything but is not normal. It's very difficult for most of us to understand this, because most of us belong into the Pluto in the Scorpio generation. That's more like the Cancer, more like the Virgo, more like the Capricorn than this. Scorpio and Leo are square in astrology. So for a Scorpionic Pluto person, this generation is one of the most difficult to understand and to appreciate, and to, we feel like they were frivolous, they were too glamorous, that they had these illusions about grandeur, about themselves, and too much vanity, things like this. But actually, they contributed a lot, because after the silent generation, somebody had to break up and say, well, let's live our lives, let's try to create something now, after all this destruction in the previous one. But I was meant to say that they have a problem with the hard reality. They don't want to see it. They don't want to, live through it.